So a few students had questions about the signature assignment and the format. And so basically what I am asking you to do is to copy and paste the questions. So literally just copy this, and then you would erase my examples, right? So whatever examples I'm giving you here, you would erase that, and then you would plug in your own answers, right? And so this is basically the same layout, right? So I mean, this is what you're seeing is straight up. If I ask for dates, just give me a date, the art chosen, the title, the movement that it's associated with, and then again, this information is stuff that you will find when you're going to the museum, or you've done your looking at stuff online. And then in part 2, again, you're answering the questions. And so a lot of these are just like simple questions that you're just going to answer, right? So there's not like a long, lengthy paper that you have to write. You're basically answering these questions, right? Then there is a couple of sections in here where you will have to write a short paragraph, right? So in part 2, you have your analysis. You just begin to you submit the image. So you're going to put the image into your thread, and then also add or into your, I'm sorry, not into your thread, but into your Word document or whatever you're writing it on. And then answer the questions, right? What is the medium? So is it acrylic? Is it oil? What is it? Is it a sculpture in the round? So you're just giving me information that you know of the piece. And then the characteristics of the medium, right? So basically, if you're going back into chapter 2, I believe. Chapter 2, where it talks about all the different materials, you would just go in there and you can kind of reference chapter 2 and talk about the ways some of these characteristics. So it'll have like oil, and oil has a specific characteristic. So for example, oil paint is very slow on drying time. And then it tells me, so therefore the artist was able to create chiaroscuro by smoothing the blending the values. So that's all you're basically telling me is, okay, so what's the medium and what's the characteristic of that? So like, what was the artist able to do, or what is the things that allow the artist to do with that material? Yeah, and so again, I mean, that's a really short and specific answer there. And then how did the medium along with other visual elements enhance the work? Again, just telling me how the elements and principle are helping the artwork, right? So if, for this example here is the steel allowed the work to be monumental in scale, right? Or the artist used atmospheric perspective and gave the painting a sense of depth. And I mean, that's basically it. You're just like giving me some examples of how the elements enhance the work, right? And then in this part 2 of the analysis, this is where you're going to give me a more of a description, right? So you're going to give me more examples, right? So this is where, you have a short paragraph. And so what I want you to do here is talk about all the elements and principles, right? And so at least 4 to 5 elements or principles, right? 4 to 5. And so you're talking about things such as color, contrast, balance, directional line. And so if you go through the elements and principles in the book, you'll see like, you can talk about several of these and just address like how they helped, right? So this is where, you will have a little bit more of a lengthier answer, and then that's it. So the other ones are really straightforward. And a couple of sentences will do, just so that you touch base on at least 4 to 5 elements and principles. So not only are you identifying like the use of color, but how did the color help the piece? So did it create a certain mood in the piece, and what was that mood? Then part 3 is the interpretation. So again, this is where you're talking about the idea, right? The content. And so when you answer these questions, what do you think the work was about? And give the interpretation of the work. So what did you think the work was about before the research, right? Before you found out anything about this piece, when you saw it, what did you think it was? And then based on what the elements and principles that the artist used, right? So if he used really dark colors, what did it, maybe what conclusion did you come to the piece, right? And so again, these are, this part right here, this is where you would address that question about your interpretation, like why you think it is, and then support it, right? Support it with the information from part 1 and part 2. So like if you say that, you know, he created this very I don't know, melancholy environment, then what was it that made that, right? So is it the use of color? Is it the use of line? And so you're just supporting your interpretation. Why did you think that, based on part 1 and part 2? And that's just, again, a short little brief paragraph on why you thought that. And then why you think the artist's motivation for the work was, right? And so just give me an explanation of why you think, what you think the artist's motivation for the work was. And then what conclusion can you reach about the artist's time period and their views on the world, right? And so again, that comes from some of research, and very simple. If you're looking at this example here, this is exactly what I'm asking. So it's not like a long drawn out essay. It's just really specific, right? But I do want you to put thought into your question. So it's not like just a yes or no, or you know, you have to put some thought into it and show that you've looked at some research and are addressing the question. And then the last one on this part is which other artists does your chosen artist share similar concepts with, or subject matter, or the use of material? And so something that we've discussed in class. So if you can think about something that we've seen in class, right, through the lectures and the book, how are they similar? So just do a comparison, right? And then just you'll just, again, a brief little short couple of sentences on how they're similar. And then part 4, this is where, again, short, simple, direct questions, right? What do you think does the work have an intrinsic value? So like, not how much is the work really, but more about, is it just a beautiful piece? Is it a spiritual piece? Does it address a certain social issue, something like that, right? So what is its value? Does it have some sort of importance for what? For its beauty, for its message? And then what is the value you find in the work? For example, is it a beautiful artwork? Does it convey, again, the ways that it affects the world, the way you see the world? And so does it have some like insightful connections to something? Does it reaffirm something? And then do you think that the work has benefits for others, right? And so again, these are very short and direct questions. It doesn't have to be a long essay. It's just very specific answers, and again, put thought into it. It's not just like a one sentence thing, like, you know, a few sentences, but it's not long drawn out paragraph. And then, is the work successful? Why or why not? And again, give an explanation. And then the last part is, don't forget, this part is just kind of briefly discuss what you liked about the artwork, right? And again, it's just a minimum of 5 sentences, just giving me telling me why did you like the work, and again, be specific on, you know, give some details, and that's it. So I'm not looking for like a 3-page paper, nothing like that. It's just really copy and paste and answer the questions. Erase my examples and then put in your answers. Hopefully this helps all of you that had questions about how to do the, format this signature assignment. It doesn't have to be an essay format. It's just really basically straightforward, asking you the questions and answering them, being specific. So if you guys have any questions, please email me, and have a great week.